Mr. Liu, your husband committed suicide. I woke up to a blinding white. Before I could react, a sharp pain shot through my wrist. As I regained my senses, I heard an anxious female voice. I saw a woman with her back to me on the phone. Mr. Liu, Lin Mo is at the hospital now. Do you want to come over? A cold, indifferent female voice came from the other end. Is he dead? If not, don't bother me. The call ended. The woman sighed and turned around, then froze. After a moment, she walked towards me. You're awake. Who are you? I looked at her blankly. Are you talking to me? You don't recognize me. The woman's expression changed. I'm Lei, Mr. Liu's assistant. Who is Mr. Liu? Lei frowned at me, impatience evident in her expression. Lin Mo, Mr. Liu is very busy with work. Even if you're attempting suicide, it won't work. Let alone faking amnesia. Give up, Mr. Liu won't come to see you. I was even more confused, unsure what she was talking about. Seeing my silence, Lei took a step closer and said honestly, Lin Mo, you've been married to Mr. Liu for 5 years, and you've been causing trouble for 5 years. Mr. Liu hasn't fallen in love with you. Shouldn't you reflect on yourself and stop causing trouble for Mr. Liu? Although I still didn't know what was happening, her attitude made me uncomfortable. Looking at her face, I felt a strange aversion. Wait, did you say 5 years? I rushed into the bathroom attached to the hospital room and looked at myself in the mirror. It was indeed me, the same face, but more mature, with a lingering melancholy. Could what Lei said be true? Was it 5 years later? Was I really married? It turned out I really was married, and had been for 5 years. I hadn't time traveled, nor was I dreaming. I had amnesia. My memory stopped when I just entered university. I had a crush on a senior, Lucio. She was an impeccable ice queen, beautiful, wealthy, and capable. She skipped grades, so although she was my senior, she was a few years younger than me. And now, I was married to her. According to Lei, I married Lucio at a shotgun wedding without much of a foundation. I hadn't even graduated from university yet, just got the marriage certificate, no wedding ceremony. After we got married, Lucio became very close to her male best friend, Joanne. He was supposedly her unrequited love, and me, the unloved husband, started to self-destruct in our marriage. I tried all sorts of bizarre methods to attract Lucio's attention, only earning her increasing disgust. Her friends all saw me as a joke, just waiting for the day we would divorce. Joanne never took me seriously either. He was the young master of their circle, and my every hysterical act in their eyes was like a clown show. Finally, I threatened suicide to stop Lucio from having any further contact with Joanne, but she didn't agree, even told me to go die. Then I committed suicide. That was what happened before I woke up. I found it surreal. Suicide for love. That didn't sound like something I would do at all. I hated simps the most. I would never be any woman's simp. By the time I figured all this out, I was already in the master bedroom of our marital home. The doctor said I was fine, so Lei took me straight back. Before leaving, she warned and advised me not to cause any more trouble. Looking at the massive villa in front of me, I lost all desire to cause trouble. I was completely stunned by this overwhelming wealth. Even a small walk-in closet was bigger than my old apartment. Just as I was gazing, dazzled, at the bedroom that I shared with Lucio, I heard a sound at the door. I spun around and met the ice-cold gaze of Lucio. Although I knew I'd been married to Lucio for 5 years, this was the first time I'd seen her face this close. I had to admit, there was a reason she was my teenage goddess. Just seeing her face in front of me made me feel a lot better. Even with her cold expression, I didn't dislike her too much. Clearly, Lei was right. I must be a total simp for pretty faces. Seeming to notice my silence, she frowned slightly. Lin Mo, what are you up to now? As she spoke, she gracefully walked towards the walk-in closet, not even pausing as she passed me, and selected a bathrobe. I turned to look at her. Up to? I hadn't said a word since she suddenly returned, and she was accusing me of scheming? Lucio glanced at me with her dark eyes. Every other time, you'd pounce on me the moment I got back. Change your tactics now. I was a little surprised. Had I been so desperate for her attention after marrying Lucio? But I didn't show it on my face, only saying calmly, "Oh, I won't anymore." I thought Lucio would breathe a sigh of relief. Instead, her brow furrowed even more, and she looked at me with increased impatience. I'm very tired from work lately. I don't have time to indulge your drama. And don't try to do anything to Joanne. He's done nothing. Even if you threaten me with suicide, it won't work. I was stunned for a moment, feeling complicated. Lei had told me pretty much everything about my relationship with Lucio. It boiled down to me loving Lucio, Lucio loving Joanne, and me, the clown in this love triangle, constantly causing trouble for Joanne, only to incur more and more of Lucio's disgust. This suicide attempt was also because I was jealous of Lucio's meticulous care for Joanne. So I secretly launched a relentless attack on Joanne's company, smearing their artists. But Lucio unhesitatingly chose to support him, undoubtedly telling everyone in the industry that I, Lucio's husband, was only one in name, and not even a finger of Joanne can be compared with me in Lucio's heart. So I lost my mind, trying to win back Lucio's heart with suicide. The outcome was predictable. A woman who was already annoyed with me wouldn't change her mind because of my suicide. She would only find it troublesome. Seeing that I didn't speak, Lucio also lost patience and went straight to the washroom. I breathed a sigh of relief and flopped onto the bed, my mind a mess. After all, having lost the last few years of my memories, I really didn't know why I had gone so crazy. The year-old me had the utmost contempt for people blinded by love, yet now I was ready to die for a woman. I really couldn't imagine that I would ever be like this. My thoughts were jumbled. Before I could figure out what I should do now, the covers beside me were pulled back and a soft, light body lay down next to me. The rush of fragrance made me jolt. I turned my head and saw Lucio looking at me with those dark eyes. The usual ice-cold indifference now tinged with a hint of suppressed intensity. I stammered. You, what are you doing? Although I have lost my memory, based on the information I know, my relationship with Lucio should be very bad, right? Maybe we even sleep in separate beds. How could she lie next to me so naturally? Lucio seemed not to notice my discomfort, and with a soft arm wrapping around, she encircled my waist. Without a word, she pounced on me, her incredibly delicate fingers skillfully teasing me, a feeling I'd never experienced before. Lucio! I couldn't help but call out her name. Don't touch me. Damn it. It seemed that the resistance in my eyes didn't look like acting, and a moment of stunned surprise flashed in Lucio's eyes as well, but it was quickly replaced by impatience. Linimo, don't throw a tantrum with me. I didn't like her always talking to me in that tone, and even her face, which I had secretly admired for many years, started to lose points in my eyes. I am your husband, right? I attempted suicide and was hospitalized, and you came back without a word of concern, and now you are aggressively accusing me. Lucio, why are you treating me like this? My anger seemed to ignite her fuse as well. She forcefully grabbed my wrist, her tone icy. Because you brought this all on yourself. Her strength was small, just enough to grip the wound on my wrist from the suicide attempt. I felt a little pain, but I forced myself not to make a sound. Lucio suddenly withdrew her hand, as if losing interest, turned her back to me, and said in an icy tone, "This time, I'll let it go. But don't you ever pretend to commit suicide to threaten me again." Lying next to her, my mood was a mix of emotions. The next day, when I woke up, Lucio was no longer beside me. I casually threw on some clothes and went downstairs, and saw that she was already having breakfast at the dining table. The butler was beside her, greeting me. "Mr. Lin, good morning." I stood there without moving. Lucio didn't even lift her head. "Come down for breakfast." Although it was just breakfast, the extravagance of it was astonishing. I sat down opposite Lucio and saw the butler serving me a plate of Japanese-style red bean pudding. I was speechless. What man eats this stuff for breakfast? Smelling the mango, I frowned and asked, "Why is there mango?" The butler said, "This was specially sent over by young Master Zhou. It's also young Master Zhou's favorite, air freight from Europe." I immediately lost my appetite. I'm not eating. The silver cutlery clinked against the china, making a crisp sound. Lucio raised her eyes to look at me, her voice cold and clear. "Linimo, enough is enough." I was full of resentment. "Does me not eating mango bother you? Isn't it just because this was sent by Zhou and that you're not eating it?" Lucio's face was icy. "Linimo, when can you restrain your jealousy?" "Me? I'm jealous of Joanne." I don't know what year-old Linimo was like in front of Lucio. Probably a humble and petty image. But no matter what, we are husband and wife. Doesn't she even know I'm allergic to mangoes? Just as I was about to speak, the butler suddenly said, Sir, young Master Zhou has arrived. A gentle voice sounded. Axiu, am I disturbing you? At the door, a tall figure walked in. Whether it was the butler or the housekeeper, they were all very familiar with him. It was clear at a glance that he came often. I only glanced at him once, and I knew this person was Zhou. I noticed the butler's address. I am Lu Xiu's husband. He only calls me Mr. Lin, but calls him young Master Zhou. The closeness or distance in their relationship is obvious at a listen. No wonder year-old me would be so hostile towards Zhou. I am her proper husband, yet I can never compare to her blatant favoritism towards another man under the guise of childhood sweethearts. Anyone would feel unbalanced. Zhou looked at me with great concern. Mr. Lin, I heard you cut your wrist. Are you all right now? I snorted from my nose, not giving him a pleasant look. I don't know what I look like in their eyes. Maybe pathetic, maybe because I love Lu Xiu too much, so I let them order me around. But the current me is the year-old me. I don't love Lu Xiu at all, so there's no need to swallow my anger. Zhou said to Lu Xiu with some embarrassment. Axiu, I'm sorry. Mr. Lin doesn't seem to want to see me. Maybe I shouldn't have come. You knew that and still came? I was direct. Did you come to laugh at me? Zhou's face flushed instantly, and Lu Xiu coldly rebuked me. Lin Mo, stop being unreasonable. She defended Zhou, and I felt uncomfortable, my impression of her dropping sharply again. Originally, waking up and being married to the goddess I had a crush on made me a little excited and grateful. But now it seems that Lu Xiu is just so-so. So what if she's beautiful and rich? Treating her husband like trash? Does she think she's amazing? If you had the ability, don't marry him in the first place. I was indignant, while Zhou was gentlemanly and calm. Axiu, I came this time specifically to invite you to my celebration party. After speaking, he seemed to realize that with me, a living person, standing here, it wouldn't be right if he didn't invite me as well, so he could only say to me, Mr. Lin, why don't you come too? Originally, I didn't want to go, but seeing the hidden disdain and provocation in Zhou's eyes, I suddenly hooked my lips and agreed. Okay, after all, I'm Axiu's husband, so I should accompany Axiu to social events. I followed Lu Xiu to Zhou's celebration party just like that. When the three of us appeared, the people in the private room all looked over, their expressions colorful. What a piece of work that one is. It's not surprising. Her family's Lin Mo is always making trouble and being dramatic, and is full of hostility towards all the opposite sex around Axiu, let alone Zhou. I heard he even attempted suicide because of Zhou. That's right, but he doesn't even consider his own worth. Marrying Axiu was already a high climb. What right does he have to control her? The previous guys were one thing, but who is Zhou? Does he deserve to be compared to him? These voices were neither too loud nor too soft, just enough for me to hear. I glanced over and guessed that they were probably friends of Lu Xiu or Zhou. Anyway, they're all in the same circle, no mistake. I sneered in my heart. No wonder the year-old me wanted to commit suicide. Listening to these belittling words every day, how can my psychology not be distorted? Besides, I must have loved Lu Xiu very much back then, so I would be in so much pain from day-to-day torment that I would want to give up my life. Lu Xiu and Zhou had already sat down in the seats they had reserved. Only I was standing alone. Isn't he embarrassed standing there alone? How could he be embarrassed? As long as he can be with Axiu, you can make him kneel. I looked coldly at the man who was gossiping. She's not dead yet. Why would I kneel to her? The man's face changed, as if he hadn't expected me to retort today. Lu Xiu looked impatient. All right, stop making trouble. I was being ridiculed like this, but not only did she not help me, but she just gave each side lashes. I chuckled. It seems like I'm not welcome here. I won't disturb you. After speaking, I turned around and left directly. Behind me came the sound of people inhaling. Did I see that right? He actually gave Axiu a look? Could it be that he's really been driven crazy by Zhou? I bet he won't last half an hour. He'll come crawling back with his tail between his legs. The noisy sounds behind me were annoying, so I went to the outdoor swimming pool to relax. Not long after, Zhou suddenly walked out. Mr. Lin, you've really surprised me. I glanced behind him, seeing that he was alone, and said playfully, I hate you so much. Aren't you afraid I'll push you in here? Zhou laughed. I'm afraid you wouldn't dare. After all, everyone knows Axiu would save me. I pursed my lips, not bothering to respond. Joanne walked to my side again. Linimo, do you dare to bet? I found it strange. If you two really love each other so much, why don't you let Lucio divorce me? Joanne, do you have to trample on someone else's sincerity to perform your drama? Is that what you call deep love? Joanne's expression changed. Isn't that because you were so persistent? You even went as far as attempting suicide to cling to Axio. She's just pitying you. Soon, he regained his calm and gentle demeanor and asked me again, Linimo, do you dare to bet? The swimming pool shimmered, looking clear, but it was actually very deep. I decisively shook my head. I don't dare. I can't swim. Suicide is such a stupid thing. Doing it once is enough, no need for a second time. I just stood up and caught Joanne's regretful gaze. He stood behind me and pushed me directly. Splash. Various screams came from my ears. My body touched the water surface and then quickly sank. At that moment, I couldn't feel anything, only the fear of senses being submerged by the surrounding pool water. My throat started to choke on water, and my lungs gradually became heavy. I struggled desperately to swim upwards, but only saw a familiar figure quickly swimming in the other direction. My wife, Lucio. When Joanne and I fell into the water at the same time, she swam towards him. A sharp pain came from my heart. This might be the last bit of emotion left in my year-old self. Although I had long forgotten the past and no longer loved her, my body's instincts were still there. But this time, it was completely drowned. When I woke up, I was lying by the pool. Joanne and I were both rescued. But he was rescued by Lucio, and I was rescued by a strange woman, quite beautiful and a very hot body. I lay on the ground, and she was pressing on my chest with both hands, trying to squeeze out the water I had choked on. I vomited with a wah sound. In my peripheral vision, I saw Lucio also walking over. Joanne was still pretending to look at Lucio's back. Lucio seemed to have just remembered that she had a husband like me, frowned and asked, "Are you okay?" I didn't answer, struggling to stand up. The woman next to me wanted to help me. I pushed her away, and when Lucio stood in front of me, I raised my hand. Originally wanting to slap her, but I don't hit women. My hand raised in the air and finally just grabbed her neck and threw her to the ground. The surroundings were silent. I could even hear everyone's deliberately slowed breathing. Lucio, a rich and beautiful woman, a princess, should have never been touched, not even pushed aside. Lucio, let's get divorced. After a long time, I heard my own voice in the silence. I don't want anything. Just consider that push just now as the breakup fee for me, your ex-husband. I had anticipated what kind of reaction Lucio would have. Anger, shock, disappointment, disgust. But no matter what her reaction was, it was insignificant to me. Everything around was terrifyingly quiet, even more silent than before. I could even hear the sound of the water dripping from my body onto the floor, drop by drop, and the unconsciously slowed breathing of the people around me. They seemed shocked that I, who had always followed Lucio's lead, had actually pushed her. Not only that, but I had also asked for a divorce. Lucio remained silent for a long time, a clear red mark still visible on her beautiful face. She suddenly walked towards me. I felt disgusted and took a step back. In that instant, Lucio's face became even uglier than when I pushed her. I already said that push just now was your severance pay. I glared at her. Lucio, don't tell me you don't even have that much grace. Lucio didn't say anything. Her thin lips pressed tightly together. She grabbed my wrist, trying to drag me away. In the chaos, a slender hand grasped mine. The person glanced at me, then looked at Lucio. Instead of pulling my hand away, she smiled charmingly. Axio, he almost drowned just now. Can't you just let it go? It was the woman who had jumped in to save me, Mei. She was also soaked through, possessing a unique aura. Although slightly disheveled, she was wild and incredibly charming. I was momentarily lost in thought. Lucio seemed to notice this, her face instantly darkening alarmingly. She tightened her grip on my hand. Mei, he's my husband. In what capacity are you advising me? Mei maintained her unruly expression. How come I heard him say just now that he wants a divorce from you? The atmosphere suddenly became excessively cold. Seeing the murderous look in Lucio's eyes, Mei smiled again and said, "Anyway, I did just save your husband's life. Shouldn't you thank me?" Lucio's expression then softened slightly. The West Suburbs Project. I'll hand it over to you completely. After saying that, she dragged me away. Behind us, there were gasps of surprise. The West Suburbs project is a huge prize. Lucio just gave it to Mei. That's a multi-billion-dollar project. Even the Zhou family only got a small share, and she just handed it all over to Mei just because she saved Axiu's husband? No way. Doesn't Axiu really dislike that country bumpkin? I was taken by Lucio to a hotel room. She's very particular and doesn't stay in rooms that others have used, so even in a hotel, a suite on the top floor is reserved specifically for her. She pulled me by the wrist, remaining silent the entire time, and made me get into the bathtub. Warm water enveloped my entire body. I couldn't help but say, "Lucio, can you go out?" She was still the same as before, cold and sullen. "Never." After a long while, she said hoarsely. When I had soaked in the bathtub for a while, she suddenly walked in. I didn't know what she was going to do and was startled. The next second, I felt a weight on me as she hugged me tightly. Lucio's arms wrapped around me like a winding snake, making it hard for me to breathe. Her delicate chin rested on my head. I struggled a little, and she held me even tighter. The moment my patience was completely exhausted, I heard her extremely restrained, clear voice. "Linimo, I'm so glad you're okay." But my voice was only icy. "Lucio, stop pretending. It was Mei who saved me." Or why did she have to say such things? I wouldn't forget the way she ran towards Zhou and when we both fell into the water. Even though I had lost my memories of the past 5 years and no longer loved her, my body's instincts were still there. But this time, it was completely drowned. I think that must have been the last struggle of my year-old self. I'm glad I lost my memory. Otherwise, with how deeply I loved Lucio my heart might have died of pain. Lucio was speechless. She opened her mouth, seemingly wanting to say something, but nothing came out. "I can't swim, and she saved Joanne. That's a fact. If it weren't for Mei, I wouldn't be lying here safe and sound now. This matter? It was my fault. Linimo, such a situation will not happen again in the future." "Whatever," I said indifferently. "After the divorce, you can save whoever you want. It's none of my business." Lucio tightened her grip on me. "I know you're angry, but this matter isn't what you think it is." She paused, and then said, "About the divorce you mentioned, I don't agree." "What makes you think you can disagree?" "When Joanne and I fell into the water at the same time, she didn't hesitate to choose to save Joanne. This already placed my life behind someone else's. I don't know what need there is to continue this marriage. Moreover, she chose him in front of so many people at the time. Don't I need dignity? Don't I need face? Lucio, I'm telling you, I absolutely must get this divorce." She seemed a little annoyed, but knowing that I had every reason to be angry, she restrained herself and didn't argue with me. After I got out of the bathtub and lay in bed, she clung to me again. "Get some sleep first. We'll talk about it tomorrow." "Don't touch me," I said through gritted teeth. "Lucio, don't force me to hit you." Lucio chuckled. "With your abilities, you dare to hit me?" I gritted my teeth and aimed at her most vulnerable spot. Lucio's face changed instantly, a flush of red appearing but quickly fading. She suddenly softened, kissed the corner of my mouth. "Okay, stop it. This matter was my fault. I'll find a way to make it up to you." My head was throbbing, my temples pounding violently. I don't know how pathetic my year-old self was that even after something like this happened, Lucio still thought she could coax me. What does she take me for? I clenched my fist and pushed her away without hesitation. Lucio's face turned ugly. Suddenly, she covered me entirely, looking down at me condescendingly. "If you can't sleep, then let's do something." Just as she was about to kiss the corner of my mouth, my face instantly paled, and my forehead was covered in beads of sweat. "It hurts." I couldn't help but cry out, my whole body trembling. Lucio seemed to suddenly wake up. "Did I hurt you somewhere?" The panic in her eyes at that moment made me think she really cared about me, but I quickly brushed away that illusion. I was overthinking it. How could a woman who doesn't even care about my life care about the wound on my wrist? I bit my lip hard, not saying a word. Lucio was a little anxious. "Where exactly does it hurt? Tell me." Before I could speak, a faint smell of blood filled the air. Lucio suddenly stared blankly at her tightly grasped wrist, where a bandage was still wrapped around it. Lucio had always thought that I was just using a self-inflicted wound to gain sympathy, so she never thought that the cut was actually real. Her face was grim as she slowly unwrapped my bandage, which was already soaked with blood. Linimo. I looked at her coldly, enduring the sharp pain as I pulled my hand back. See it? Satisfied. You're serious? A storm swept through her eyes, wave after wave. Who allowed you to kill yourself? I stared fixedly into her eyes. Do you still care if I kill myself? You just watched me almost drown. My words pierced her like needles. I saw her dark eyes narrow slightly, as if she were trying to evade something. Soon, she said in a hoarse voice, I'll have the doctor come and see you. Along with the doctor, Joanne also came. He had changed his clothes, his black hair slicked back meticulously, looking like a suave and amorous young master. He stood nervously at the door. Axiu, is he all right? Lucio nodded, looking at him gravely. You go back and rest first. You don't need to worry about things here. I feel bad. Joanne sighed, appearing gentle and gentlemanly. After all, it was because of me that Mr. Lin almost drowned. Before he could finish speaking, I interrupted him coldly. You're quite the actor. As soon as my words fell, Joanne's face changed. It's a pity there are no security cameras by the pool. Otherwise, if Lucio heard what he said to me, then I wonder what she would think of you in the end. Joanne left in a hurry. Presumably, he had gained many benefits from Lucio before through his divisive words, but the current me doesn't take his bait at all. Whatever he says, I go straight for the point, and he can't handle it at all. He probably doesn't understand why my personality suddenly changed so drastically. Staying any longer would expose him, so he left just like that. I was glad to be rid of them both, and didn't want to see either of them at all. Lucio looked at me gravely. You rest here properly. I'll come see you tomorrow. I nodded and said, it's best to bring the divorce papers. Divorce agreement. If you don't write it, I'll find a lawyer to write it. Her assets should be frighteningly large, and if she drafts it, there won't be any other troubles. And it will save her from thinking that I'm coveting her property. Lucio's eyes darkened slightly, and in the end she only said one sentence, I won't divorce you. After speaking, she closed the door and left. It seems she also knows that staying here would only be an eyesore to me. Not long after, Lucio contacted me using her phone, telling me to wait for her here tomorrow. I looked at my own phone. Initially, I used my birthday as the password, but it failed to unlock. After thinking for a moment, I used Lucio's birthday, and it unlocked immediately. I chuckled, mocking my future simp self, and immediately changed the password to my own birthday. The next day, I didn't wait for her at all, and I directly contacted Mei. I'm Linimo. I introduced myself as soon as I spoke. Do you have time for a drink with me? Mei's voice sounded a little hoarse, but with a hint of a smile that wasn't quite a smile. What is it? I want to thank you. After all, you saved my life yesterday. I am just this kind of person with clear distinctions between love and hate. I really don't know what situation the year-old me was in to be so humble for love. Okay. The location was set at a nearby coffee shop. When I arrived, Mei was already there. You're quite punctual. I sat down and said, Speak. How should I thank you? Anything is fine. Mei looked at me, suddenly frowned. Why do I feel like you are different from before? Is that so? I touched my hair, not really wanting others to know about my amnesia. Moreover, I don't know what my relationship with this Mei is. Judging from yesterday's situation, we shouldn't be familiar with each other. I'm Linimo. I curled the corner of my mouth. Where is it different? Maybe it's because I was frightened yesterday. Linimo, what exactly is wrong with you? Mei frowned, suddenly serious. We've known each other for so many years, you can tell me anything. I was stunned for a moment. We've known each other for many years? Why don't I have any impression at all? Mei tapped on the table. Don't tell me you've forgotten about me? I asked back with a smile that was not a smile. Should I remember? Her eyes sized me up, giving me the illusion that she could see through me. Linimo, you are very strange. Ever since you woke up after your suicide attempt last time, you've become very different from usual. Is it because of Lucio? I laughed sarcastically. Even you can see that I'm different, but she can't? This marriage really has no need to continue. Mei, you seem to have heard something unbelievable. You really plan to divorce her? Very surprised. I took a sip of the coffee in front of me. Just based on yesterday's matter, don't you think it deserves a divorce? She shook her head. The way you were obsessed with her before, I never thought the divorce you mentioned was real. The corners of her mouth curled up in a smile, looking at me teasingly. When you married Lucio, it could be said that you were crazy in love. No matter where she went, you had to stick to her. You couldn't stand any opposite sex around her, let alone Joanne. Was I that crazy? More than that, your possessiveness was very strong, and you were also very humble, afraid that she would abandon you. But speaking of which, although she looked like she disliked you very much, she never thought about separating from you. After you married her, you didn't want to see any of your former friends, especially female friends. We are university classmates after all, and we have experienced so much together. Even though my confession to you failed, there is still friendship. You actually said you wouldn't contact me, and then just didn't. It was only after graduation that I entered Lucio's circle that I could occasionally meet you, but you pretended not to know me. She said a lot, and I instantly sorted out our relationship. So that's how it is. She's a classmate I met after I was years old. No wonder year-old me has no impression. So, I met Mei after I was. She confessed. I rejected her, and then I met Lucio, and we had a flash marriage. After marrying her, I behaved like a useless person, ridiculed by everyone, completely without dignity. I loved her so humbly, and even severed contact with all my previous friends. Mei had no choice but to enter Lucio's circle of friends to be able to talk to me. In that case, you should know me very well. My eyes lit up. Originally, I had amnesia and didn't understand the current situation very well, and I didn't even know what my current job was. With her here, it should be much easier for me. I don't want Lucio to know about my amnesia, otherwise things will become very troublesome. Time passed quickly. Although I didn't say it explicitly, Mei seemed to know that I was in trouble. She didn't pry, but just told me about my situation over the past 2 years. I understood most of it, and couldn't help but feel a little emotional. I could actually love someone to this extent, something the year-old me could never have imagined. Adding years to my age for no reason, and turning myself into the bootlicking dog I used to despise the most was something I couldn't accept at all. Just as I was chatting and laughing with Mei, a familiar voice suddenly came from the side. Isn't that Lin Mo? How could he be with Mei? Then he suddenly realized. It must be because Mei saved him yesterday, so he's expressing his gratitude, right? I believe Lin Mo isn't the kind of person who casually meets with women in private. I turned my head and saw Lucio standing in front of us at some point, with Joanne beside her. Lucio looked at me coldly. I remember I told you before, I don't like you being with her. I frowned. We're about to get divorced. It's none of your business. I never would have imagined that I would completely cut off contact with my friend just because Lucio didn't like it. Maintaining basic social distance is reasonable, but why should I not have any female friends? Lucio looked at Mei expressionlessly and asked, Yesterday, you saved my husband, and I already expressed my gratitude with the Western Suburb Project. You don't need to meet in private. Mei smiled faintly, her expression a bit provocative. Yesterday, you thanked me as his wife, but today I am accepting his gratitude as his friend. Please don't confuse the two. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. I really didn't want to see those two being an eyesore here, so I picked up my bag and was about to leave. Mei, let's go somewhere else. Lucio suddenly grabbed my arm, looking at me coldly. Where are you going? What's it to you? I glanced at Joanne behind her. Go keep your man company. Hurry up and send the divorce agreement over. Otherwise, he will always be a third party who can't see the light of day. Lucio opened her mouth as if she wanted to say something, but I didn't want to listen at all, shook off her hand, and left with Mei. I didn't get home until the evening. I'm still not familiar with this strange world. I need to find a place to live these next few days, otherwise I won't know where to go after the divorce. Lucio saw me come back and walked over coldly. You still know to come back? Her accusatory tone made me very uncomfortable. Can you stop staring at me? I just went out for a walk with a friend. It's none of your business. As soon as I said those words, a sharp pain suddenly shot through my temples. Some blurry fragments flashed through my mind, and I took a step back, grabbing the sofa armrest tightly. It seemed like those words had appeared in front of me some time before. I suddenly looked up at her, my eyes filled with bloodshot. I remembered. A clear image appeared in my mind. Lucio had also said the exact same words to me when she went out for social engagements and came back late. I would ask her, and she would brush me off with that impatient tone, and now I was returning those words to her verbatim. Lucio seemed to have realized something too, her atoms apple-bobbing up and down. After a long time, she explained to me, my meeting with Joe and wasn't what you think. Our families are old friends, and some things are unavoidable, but I'm already reducing my contact with him. You don't have to do that. I interrupted her. If you feel guilty because you didn't save me when I fell into the water and don't want to divorce me, wanting to make up for it, there's absolutely no need. I shook my head and said, you might as well give me a little more compensation when we get divorced. After that day, Lucio and I parted ways unhappily again. I really couldn't figure out why she didn't want to divorce me. She clearly loves Joanne and is repulsed by me. Wouldn't a divorce be exactly what she wants? I was a little confused about this woman's thoughts, but I didn't want to dwell on it anymore. The next day, I found a way to move out. Lucio discovered this when she got home and immediately called me. Linemo, what do you mean? What do you mean? We're getting divorced anyway. We can't still live together, right? I said, finalize the agreement as soon as possible. Before I could finish, she hung up the phone. I threw my phone on the table, too lazy to deal with it. I had just finished packing up my things when someone knocked on the door. I thought it was the delivery, but when I opened the door, I saw Lucio standing there, suppressing her anger. My expression immediately changed. What are you doing here? No, how did you know I was here? Lucio strode in, glanced at the decorations in the rented apartment. You'd rather live in a pigsty like this than be angry with me and separate. I took a deep breath. Lucio, I'm not being angry. I really want to divorce you. Things have developed to this point, and I don't understand anymore. Why don't you want to divorce me? Isn't this what you wanted? When did I ever want to divorce you? Lucio's eyes looked at me as if she was looking at an unreasonable person. Are you still angry about Joanne? Her eyes darkened. I thought you understood. I didn't deliberately not save you that day. Seeing that I just stood there coldly, unwilling to answer, she suddenly sighed, grabbed my shoulders, and made me sit on the sofa. Linemo, stop being stubborn. Come home with me. This kind of thing won't happen again in the future. So many times in the past it has already happened, and she is only thinking about resolving it now? Isn't it a little late? I pushed her hand away. No need. You just need to prepare the divorce agreement. Lucio suddenly cupped my face. Linemo, do you have to be stubborn with me to this extent? I told you, I'm not being stubborn. Are you really going to sleep in a place like this alone, or what? Lucio suddenly bit my earlobe. Husband, come home with me. You can't sleep alone in a place like this. I found it very funny. Maybe to a princess like you this place is very simple, but it's already very good for me, and it's also very close to my work. Lucio sighed. Do I have to say clearly? Linemo, you can't sleep alone without me. I widened my eyes as if hearing something shocking. I can't sleep without you. Ever since I woke up from amnesia, I felt that Lucio and I should be a pair of resentful lovers. I love her, but she is annoyed by me. But why does her tone now make it seem like we are a loving couple, just prone to arguing? Lucio still wanted to say something. I directly pulled her up and pushed her to the door. Lucio, I've already decided to divorce you. I can't live like this for even one more day. After kicking Lucio out the door, I started arranging my rented apartment. I'd learned almost everything I needed to know about the company, but keeping up was a struggle, so I needed to spend a lot of time on it. In the evening, I wanted to order some takeout, so I scrolled through my WeChat moments. A photo posted by Joanne caught my eye. It was a picture of him and Lucio together, but it was very subtle, only showing Lucio's profile. But her profile was so beautiful that even just a half shadow of it was instantly recognizable. Joanne also posted a vaguely suggestive message. How great would it be if we hadn't just passed each other by? Would I be the man by your side? But luckily it's not too late. We have time to correct everything. I sneered. Wasn't he implying that Lucio was with me without love and would eventually divorce me to be with him? I gave it a like, commented below, and then deleted him directly. I also found Lucio's number and deleted and blocked all her contact information. The next day, I went to work and Lucio was already waiting for me downstairs with a dark face. When she saw me, she strode over. You blocked me. Sorry, I admitted my mistake directly. I shouldn't have blocked you. Lucio's expression softened a little, and I said, Oh, I forgot. We're not divorced yet. Are you here to have me sign the divorce agreement? I happen to be taking time off, so I have the time. After we sign it, we can go to the Civil Affairs Bureau and get our divorce certificates. Lucio's face instantly turned terrifyingly dark. Linemo, add my number back. No, honey. Her tone suddenly softened. I apologize. Add my number back. I rolled my eyes. I don't even know what your number is. As soon as I said that, Lu Xiao's expression suddenly changed. You don't remember my number? No. So what? She pinched my shoulder hard, as if she had just noticed something was wrong with me. How could you forget my number? You always knew it by heart. Crap, my heart skipped a beat. She noticed it. I immediately averted my gaze and said, I just forgot. So what? We're getting divorced anyway. Can't I forget your number? Lin Mo, what's wrong with you? Lu Xiao stared at me intently. Ever since you woke up from your suicide attempt, you've been like a different person. Afraid she'd see something, I shook off her hand. Isn't that normal? After experiencing such a major event, there's bound to be some change. Didn't you expect me to be the same as before, following you around like a tail, always humble, always without self-esteem? Lu Xiao looked at me, a dangerous glint in her eyes, completely ignoring the perfunctory words I had just said. She silently snatched my phone, skillfully unlocked it, but found the password was wrong. She frowned. You changed the password? Yes. So what? Your old password was my birthday. Lu Xiao looked at me coldly, but there was a hint of hurt in her eyes. I really didn't want to get entangled with her. Lu Xiao, give me back my phone. I need to ask for time off. If you want, I can buy the whole company for you. Is it necessary to work this job? As she spoke, she tried the password several more times. Our wedding anniversary. Password incorrect. She pursed her lips and then used my birthday, which worked. She glanced at me, quietly said nothing, and changed the password to our wedding anniversary. I snatched the phone, wanted to unlock it, but found that I couldn't open it no matter what. Frustrated and exasperated, I yelled, Lu Xiao, why did you change my password? The password is our wedding anniversary. You can change it back. I was stunned. How could I remember our wedding anniversary? I have amnesia. My understanding of her is even just the secret crush from many years ago. Now, knowing her vile nature, her beautiful face, hot body, and wealthy family property can no longer move me. It's impossible for me to actively try to understand these trivial things. You forgot, didn't you? Her eyes were like a hawk's, as if trying to see through me, and she gripped my shoulders forcefully. You have amnesia. She said these words with utmost certainty. I indeed have amnesia. Lu Xiao discovered this matter, and the progress of the divorce suddenly slowed down. Lu Xiao knows I have amnesia and has even more reason to be unwilling to divorce me. You just don't remember. It doesn't mean you don't love me anymore. These were her exact words. Lin Mo, after you remember everything, you won't divorce me. Her words made me feel extremely disgusted. I was also afraid that if I remembered everything, would I become that pathetic year-old Lin Mo again? That kind of me is truly too pathetic, so I would rather never remember. Coming back home from the company, I opened the door. Just as I was about to put my bag on the sofa, I saw a dark figure on the sofa staring at me unexpectedly. Lin Mo, she called my name. I was startled. When did you come? No. How do you have the key to my rented apartment? Lu Xiao said. I contacted the landlord. I was very impatient. Give me the key. I'll change the lock tomorrow. She said nothing, only looked at me with that complicated gaze. How much have you forgotten? I haven't forgotten anything, I said impatiently. The reason I'm divorcing you is because I don't love you anymore. How many times do you want me to say it? Before I could finish speaking, Lu Xiao suddenly grabbed my arm and directly hugged my waist. She hugged me tightly, burying her face in my waist. This posture was a bit dangerous, but Lu Xiao seemed to have no other intentions, just wanted to lean on me. Don't say such things. You have amnesia. I won't hold it against you, she said with a hoarse voice. When you remember everything, I'll settle accounts with you. My expression was impatient. My emotions had reached the edge of annoyance. Lu Xiao, are you done yet? You don't love me at all. You are not good to me at all. Why should I stay by your side? So what if I have amnesia? I don't like the self without self-respect who chases after you. I like myself the way I am now. I don't love you anymore. Do you understand? I wanted to leave you a long time ago. I wanted to leave her a long time ago. Realizing this, Lu Xiao hugged me even tighter. No, we were just arguing, Lin Mo. I've already explained it to you. That time, I didn't do it on purpose. She cupped my face. I originally didn't want to say it because I knew we are the people who understand each other the most. Even if I saved Zhou at that time, you should understand that there must have been a misunderstanding. She rubbed her forehead against mine and sighed softly. Now that you have amnesia and don't remember me, I think it's necessary for me to explain it to you properly. Joanne and I, it's not what you think. The Liu family and the Zhou family are old family friends. His grandfather was once kind to my grandfather. We had a childhood betrothal, but I never had romantic feelings for him. Later, I married you. My grandfather felt indebted to him, so he asked me to take care of him more. There's no other relationship besides that. I sneered. Who would believe such words? You value his life more than mine. Lucio pinched my cheek and sighed. Looks like you're still throwing a tantrum because of that incident. I'm sorry, I didn't know you had amnesia at the time. I should have explained it to you immediately. I didn't want to listen to her explanation at all, but Lucio insisted. She hugged me tightly, and I couldn't move, so I could only listen to her. That day, I heard someone fell into the water. My first reaction was to check if you were okay. They said it was Joanne, and I breathed a sigh of relief. But after all, he is regarded as a grandson by Grandpa, so I saved him. I didn't expect you fell into the water too. Just these few simple words completely shifted her responsibility away. Seeing my expression of complete disbelief, she was silent for a long time. You don't believe me, do you? Why should I believe you? I looked at her coldly. Everyone saw it at that time. You rushed over without thinking. You were trying to save him. It had nothing to do with me. After I was rescued by Mei, you were still so indifferent to me. Lucio, I'm not blind. I can feel your disdain for me. Lucio's Adam's apple bobbed, and she gently hugged me. This time she didn't hug me as tightly as before. Her strength was unbelievably gentle. This was the first time she had shown weakness in front of me. Linimo, I wasn't indifferent to you. It's because you almost lost your life. At that time, I was angry, Lucio said in a deep voice. If you hadn't been okay, I almost wanted to kill someone at that time. I shook my head. Lucio, if you really care about me, let's get divorced. Let me go. Let me have true freedom. Except for this matter. Only this matter is impossible. Lucio still didn't dare to let go and said in my ear, when you remember everything, we can talk about divorce again. Do you think as long as I remember, I won't get divorced? I frowned and looked at her. Lucio didn't answer, but that was clearly what she thought. I sneered. It's useless, Lucio. Since heaven made me forget this matter, it means I shouldn't remember it. Maybe this is my chance to leave you. I was very resistant to remembering this matter and was unwilling to return to my year-old self. Lucio had no choice but to temporarily stabilize me. I lived a normal life for a few days. I didn't expect Joanne to actually find me. Linimo, let's talk. Joanne looked a bit haggard and disheveled this time, with deep dark circles under his eyes. He was downstairs in my company. I didn't want to be laughed at by others. If you have something to say it quickly. Joanne suddenly laughed mockingly. You must be very proud, right? Axie unilaterally terminated the cooperation with the Zhou family. Now everyone in the circle knows that the Zhou family has lost its backing. I frowned. I was indeed a little surprised, but my tone was very calm. What does it have to do with me? You should go find her. But she said she won't help me. Did you say something to her, right? I became impatient. I thought you were here to sincerely apologize. It seems you are only here for your own benefit. We have nothing to talk about. I turned to leave, and Joanne suddenly shouted sharply behind me, Linimo. Why can you, a country bumpkin, be her husband? Marry her? Why? Where am I worse than you? My steps stopped abruptly, and a sharp ringing in my ears made it hard to concentrate. I seemed to have heard these words before. Shortly after I married Lucio, her wealthy friends were mocking me. Back then, Joanne was still quite friendly to me, even understanding, and gave me a lot of ideas. But the ideas he gave me often embarrassed me in front of everyone. I began to become self-conscious and timid, walking on eggshells, and I also became paranoid, afraid that Lucio would abandon me. Those images flashed by one. I was certain that it was my memory, but it hadn't fully recovered, and I could only see some fragments. Joanne chased after me from behind. Linimo, I can apologize to you, but you must tell Axie. Get lost. I shook off his hand directly, my eyes bloodshot. I have no interest in your affairs with Lucio. Please tell him that I don't want to see you two again. The further you two are away from me, the better. As I was about to leave, I ran into a familiar figure. A familiar chuckle came from above my head. How come we always run into scenes like this, Axio? Wouldn't you agree? It was Mei Yi's voice. Before I could react, I was pulled away by another force. When I realized what was happening, Lucio was already beside me. The woman looked coldly at Mei next to me. Stay away from him. Mei shrugged helplessly. I won't do anything to him. Look how nervous you are. After speaking, she smiled and looked at Joanne, who was looking gloomy not far away. Why do you always privately cause trouble for Linimo? He's the one causing trouble for me, right? Joanne's face was cold, but he softened a little when he saw Lucio. Axiu, no matter what. We grew up together since we were little. We can be considered childhood sweethearts. The previous things were just misunderstandings. Can't you just let it go? Lucio replied indifferently. I've already done what I should have done, and I don't owe you anything. I took care of you before for your grandfather's sake, but that doesn't mean you can be insatiable. I'm insatiable. Joanne's face became even more ugly, and he couldn't think of a rebuttal. He could only clench his fists, glare at me resentfully, and then turned and left. After he left, I understood why he was so restless and came to me today. It turned out that Lucio directly publicized what happened at the pool that day. She said that there was never a choice between me and Joanne. She would only save me. At the time, it was only because she didn't know I had fallen into the water that she saved Joanne. If she knew I was also in the water, there would be no such thing as a choice. There would be no need to choose. She would only save me. Her words were very straightforward, almost completely denying that Joanne was important to her, let alone more important than me. I had been ridiculed by people in the circle before because of this. My own wife didn't care about my life, and everyone was watching me make a fool of myself, wondering when I would be abandoned. But I didn't expect there to be such a big reversal. Those people were just looking at Lucio's attitude. Since Lucio said so, it was equivalent to standing up for me in front of everyone and embarrassing Joanne. No wonder Joanne was so broken, rushing to find me. It seemed that not only his interests were damaged, but even his image, which he had always maintained, plummeted. But I don't understand. Since Lucio doesn't have any extra feelings for him, then how should the previous things be explained? Fragments of images flashed before my eyes again, a dull pain in my head, and I couldn't help but shake it. Seeing this, Lucio's eyes flashed with worry, and she immediately supported me. Are you feeling unwell anywhere? I'll take you to the hospital. I'm not going. I shook off her hand. You just need to make sure you're Joe and doesn't come looking for trouble with me again. You don't need to worry about anything else. Don't worry, I won't give him that kind of opportunity again, Lucio said in a low voice. I won't make the same mistake again. Mei was still standing aside and suddenly said, You can choose not to make mistakes again, but not all mistakes can be forgiven. I felt she was right and deeply agreed. Lucio glanced at Mei at her coldly. The project in the western suburbs has already been given to you as a thank you for saving him, but don't push your luck. Mei suddenly found it amusing. After all, I saved him. I'm his savior. He can't swim. If I hadn't taken action that day, you wouldn't have a husband. What kind of attitude are you using to talk to your savior like this? Lucio's eyes sharpened. A glint of coldness flashed in them. How do you know he can't swim? A rare hint of mischief appeared on Mei's face. What do you think? Then she sighed. Since you two are getting divorced, I won't hide it anymore. I've known him for a long time and confessed to him, but later he fell in love with you. But looking at the current situation, you made the wrong choice back then. I can give you a chance to choose again. Almost the next second, Lucio rushed up. The two of them were fighting fiercely. I had never seen Lucio, who was always cold and aloof, have such emotional fluctuations, nor had I ever seen women fighting, so I just let them fight there. I had no interest in mediating. Childish people. I shook my head and went straight back to the company, but I didn't expect Lucio to be even faster than me. When I got downstairs to the company, Lucio was already standing there. Her lips had a faint bruise, and when she saw me, her eyes lit up. I'll pick you up again when you get off work. I looked at the bruises on her face, and Lucio avoided my gaze somewhat uncomfortably and said, Don't worry, I'm not badly hurt. She's more serious. I sneered. Who told you I was worried about you? Don't be presumptuous. Lucio's eyebrows sank, but she still said, I'll pick you up when you get off work. I was already a little impatient. I said I want to divorce you. Which word don't you understand? Lucio's expression suddenly became a little hurt, and she lowered her voice and said, Linimo, you've lost your memory now, so you don't remember your feelings for me. You'll be fine when you remember. Why do I have to remember? Just because you and Joanne are innocent? But the past hurts are real, and my determination to divorce you cannot be changed. Or do you think that as long as I remember, I will become as humble and worthless as before, and you can just crook your finger, and I will forgive you? I didn't think that way. Lucio's voice was a little hoarse. Seeing her like this, I suddenly felt a sense of powerlessness and looked at her eyes seriously. Lucio, when I first woke up, I lost all my memories. I was very scared. When I learned that you were my wife, I was very happy because I knew you before and thought you were a very good person. Lucio, I have always had hopes for marriage, thinking that I would marry a very kind wife, but I never expected that my future wife would be someone like this. I'm disappointed in you and also disappointed in myself. I have always looked down on simps and relationships, but I, in the name of love, allowed you to hurt me, making me completely unlike myself. Ever since I woke up from amnesia, I have never felt love from you, only perfunctory and impatient behavior. Even if you and Joanne are innocent, so what? You haven't fulfilled your responsibilities as a wife at all. You let him hurt me, and you also hurt me. I don't think there's any need to continue this marriage. Let's get divorced. I said a long speech, all from my heart. At that moment, I seemed to see the shattering of some kind of light in Lucio's eyes. I turned around and didn't look at her again. After that day, I refused to hear any news about Lucio again. People in that circle have always been snobbish. After knowing what happened last time, they started asking me for information. Some people wanted to curry favor with me, but I didn't take the bait, just doing my own thing, waiting for the day Lucio was willing to agree to a divorce. When it was time to get off work, I stretched. I originally wanted to ask Mei out for dinner to formally thank her, but as soon as I walked out of the company gate, I saw a black luxury car parked there. The surrounding colleagues were whispering and winking at me. I couldn't show displeasure, so I could only force a smile and saw Lucio leaning against the car door. I cursed inwardly and walked past without looking sideways. Lucio immediately walked towards me. Lin Mo, she called my name, her tone unusually gentle. I frowned, not having much patience for her. Are you here to bring me the divorce agreement? The smile on her face stiffened for a moment, but quickly returned to normal, deliberately avoiding the topic, and took out a car key from somewhere. Lin Mo, do you like it? A chorus of exclamations immediately sounded around us. Those were all colleagues I was familiar with. During this period of amnesia, I didn't dare to get too close to them. I didn't expect Lucio to do such a tacky thing. I subconsciously replied, I don't like SUVs. That's what I said, but when I saw the car key, the feeling of liking in my heart wasn't fake. Turns out I like SUVs. This surprised me, because year-old me didn't like SUVs at all. I liked sports cars more. More and more people were watching, and I felt a little uncomfortable, telling Lucio to leave quickly, but she stood there without moving. I had no choice but to pull her hand. Let's talk in private. Lucio then took me into the car. By the time I reacted, I was already sitting in a restaurant. Have a meal with me. Lucio looked at me, her expression a little lonely. I frowned. After this meal, are you willing to divorce me? Lucio didn't speak, and after a long silence, she said, if you don't have this meal with me, I won't divorce you. Okay, you said it. I directly picked up the knife and fork. She seemed to have prepared carefully. There was red wine, candles, and all kinds of flower arrangements. It was a very romantic Western meal. Not very filling, but very beautiful. I finished eating quickly, wiped the corner of my mouth. I'm full. I'll go first. At the moment I stood up, Lucio looked at me somewhat hurt. Lin Mo, have you forgotten what day it is today? What day is it? I was stunned for a moment. Lucio immediately tightened her grip on the knife and fork in her hand, and after a moment said somewhat forlornly, today is our wedding anniversary. Wedding anniversary? There was not a single memory in my mind. I searched for a long time, only to realize I couldn't recall at all how we used to spend it. Seeing her forlorn expression, I suppressed the urge to be sarcastic and said calmly, well, that's fine too. Let's consider it our last dinner. She remained silent, shadows deepening under her eyes. From my perspective, it only served to highlight her already exquisite features, making them even more alluring. I understood her desire to salvage things, but I truly didn't think there was any point in saving our marriage. I said, excuse me, I'm going to the restroom, and then I turned to leave. There was a large mirror in the restroom. I turned on the faucet, and the cold water on my skin helped calm me down. Looking at myself in the mirror, I told myself not to backtrack. I patted my face to clear my head, and as I turned to leave, I saw Lucio walking towards me. Her eyes were so deep, filled with a thick emotion, a sentiment I couldn't decipher. Linimo, please try to remember. Before I could react, my back slammed against the wall behind me. She kissed me, her arms wrapping around my waist, clinging to me like a snake. She kissed me, her voice soft, but her actions were hurried. Lucio, let me go. I don't know how much time had passed, but I was covered in her sweet scent, but I still only wanted to push her away. Lucio, it's useless. I knew her persistence was only because of my amnesia. She thought that once I remembered, I wouldn't be willing to divorce her. It's useless. I know myself too well. Even if my amnesia is the reason I no longer love you, I can still feel it. Even if I were to remember everything now, I would still divorce you. The moment I said that, I saw a flicker of something like panic on Lucio's face. I had never seen her like this before. She gripped my hand almost forcefully, our fingers intertwined, holding so tightly it hurt slightly. No, Linimo, you love me. We love each other. You've just forgotten love. I found it somewhat laughable and abruptly took a step back, but the back of my head slammed against the wall. A sharp pain shot through me, and I instantly paled in pain. Lucio looked flustered. Linimo, what's wrong? Are you all right? Enduring the pain, I pushed her away. I'm fine. Don't touch me. Lucio could only stand aside, watching me with a soft, pleading look, unwilling to confine me, but also unwilling to let go completely. Her breath was close, her kisses almost frantic. My body felt weak, unable to resist her onslaught. But at that moment, the throbbing pain in the back of my head triggered a series of clear images in my mind. My body felt weak, and I staggered slightly. Lucio cradled my head while kissing me even more intensely. In that state, the fragmented memories became more and more coherent until they coalesced into crystal-clear recollections. I remembered our first time, how we got together, how we got married. I also remembered how Zhou-En and the others had ridiculed me, humiliated in front of my in-laws, ridiculed in front of Lucio's friends. I also remembered how we had argued about Zhou-En. A dull ache settled in my heart. All the pain of the past unfolded before my eyes. Even amnesia couldn't erase the torment. My first time with Lucio was very cliché, a cocktail party. She was drunk, and I had drunk a bit too much as well. She looked into my eyes drunkenly, asked me to take her back to her room. I don't know who started it first. When I reacted, she was already in my arms. When we woke up, she looked at the bed sheets and seemed very panicked. But in the blink of an eye, she turned back into that aloof ice beauty. The next morning, Lucio saw me, didn't have any other reaction, only said one sentence. Let's date. I had secretly loved her for many years, so naturally, I nodded in agreement. Later, we were like a normal couple, falling deeply in love, but we were both very possessive of each other. She said she didn't want me to be too close to my female friends, and I didn't want her to have anything special with other men. We were loyal to each other, but we didn't expect Zhou-En's appearance to break this balance. She said he was someone her grandfather treated like a grandson. She couldn't be too cold to him. She was reasonable and justified, but I couldn't accept it. Ever since I married her, I've been insecure about my identity. She is from a wealthy and powerful family, but I am just a man with an ordinary background. At most, I just got into a prestigious university, which gave me the opportunity to meet her. Otherwise, with my background, I'm afraid I would never have met someone like her in this lifetime. Zhou-En was also a young master from her social class. Even though Lucio told me that his family had later fallen into decline and needed her help, but his status was still there. So what if they declined? He is still a rich second generation that I look up to. These differences made me become increasingly unlike myself. I started to become unreasonable and make trouble, checking her phone, restricting her from interacting with any men. I knew those people were innocent, but my emotions were already problematic. At that time, I couldn't control myself. The sweet memories of the past all vanished, leaving only our constant arguments and the scene of me being laughed at for not fitting into a circle. I remember our last argument was when she told me she didn't want children. I questioned her. What if you got pregnant? If we had a child, could she ignore Zhou-En? Lucio looked at me with extremely disappointed eyes at that time. Do you think a child is just a tool for you to consolidate your status? Then I better never get pregnant. Even if I get pregnant, I'll abort it. Such heartless words made me feel extremely desperate. And at that time, everyone in the circle was saying that even if the Zhou family went bankrupt, Lu Xiu would help them. I begged her not to help them, but Lu Xiu still went. The double blow made me unbearable. I threatened her. If she went, I would commit suicide. I had made a fuss about suicide many times before when I was emotionally agitated, but none of them were real. Lu Xiu tolerated me once or twice, but the third time she no longer took it seriously and just left. Later, I attempted suicide and was rescued. When I woke up, I had amnesia. When I remembered all of this, my heart already hurt to numbness. No wonder I wanted to forget. No wonder I didn't remember anything. It turned out that memory was so painful. My whole body was shaking. Lu Xiu also noticed my abnormality. What's wrong, Lin Mo? Lu Xiu, you really disgust me. I looked into her eyes, covered my heart, and suddenly sighed. Actually, I disgust myself too. I closed my eyes and suddenly fainted. When I woke up again, I was already lying in the hospital. It was still that familiar doctor, Ning Ruru. She was examining me. Lu Xiu anxiously held my hand. Seeing me wake up, she immediately called the doctor over. Ning Ruru, he's awake. Ning Ruru reopened my eyes and looked, saying, It's nothing serious, just caused by a sudden surge of anger. The bruise in his head before has now dispersed, so he'll be fine with some rest. Lu Xiu breathed a sigh of relief and asked me, When did you hit your head? Why didn't you tell me? I indifferently pulled my hand away, my eyes even colder than when I had amnesia. Lu Xiu seemed to realize something, her thin lips forming a straight line. Lin Mo, you? She tentatively asked, but I interrupted her directly. It's no use, Lu Xiu. Let's get divorced. I remember everything. I looked into her eyes and said, I remember everything, but I still want to divorce you. Lu Xiu's eyes trembled violently, as if in disbelief. I had never seen such a sorrowful look in her eyes, but I knew my decision was right. I closed my eyes and said, Being with you is too painful, Lu Xiu. Let's get divorced. I had said the word divorce countless times. Lu Xiu's reactions were always strong, but never like this time, which was a silence of utter despair. Ning Ru, who was beside us, seemed unable to bear it anymore and said to me, Lin Mo, don't go too far. Axius already apologized to you. Before she could finish, Lu Xiu interrupted her. It's my fault. I glanced at Lu Xiu. When I first woke up, she warned me like this too. All your friends warned me like this, telling me not to be ungrateful. I paused, my tone becoming gentler. Lu Xiu, do you still think we shouldn't get divorced? That day after I left the hospital, I didn't see Lu Xiu for a long time. I had made things very clear to her, and she should slowly think it through and let go. I thought perhaps soon I would see the divorce agreement from her. Only one thing was giving me a headache. After knowing that I had regained my memory, Mei started contacting me frequently. So you really had amnesia? I was still a bit suspicious before. I didn't expect it was true. She still had that flirtatious smile. Once you're divorced, how about me? I'm not divorced yet. I corrected her. We don't have a divorce certificate yet. What you're doing now is the behavior of a third party. I suggest you have some self-respect. The reason I said this was not because I was unwilling to part with Lu Xiu, but because I didn't want to get involved in another relationship so quickly. Besides, although Mei had never been a third party, she did interfere when my relationship with Lu Xiu wasn't settled. I was very grateful to her for saving my life back then, but that was all. I only have gratitude for you, not love. Is there a need to be so absolute? Mei put on a sad face, but then seemed relieved. I was just trying my luck. Lin Mo, I let you go a long time ago. It's just that I felt angry seeing you not doing well. I understand. I hugged her and suddenly saw Lu Xiu walking towards us in the distance. I felt impatient and was about to leave when Lu Xiu suddenly rushed to the side and gagged a few times. Mei's expression immediately changed, becoming somewhat unsightly. Did Lu Xiu see us hugging and felt disgusted enough to throw up? No, I'm not feeling well, Lu Xiu said with difficulty. Suddenly thinking of something, I exchanged a look with Mei. Her face also darkened, and she suddenly looked at the very uncomfortable Lu Xiu. You wouldn't be. Lu Xiu's eyes lit up, as if she also thought of that possibility. The baby. I shook my head violently. No way. I closed my eyes and the world spun before me. Suddenly, I remembered that time when I was utterly despairing and wanted to kill myself. It was because Lucio told me she didn't want children. If she got pregnant, she would abort it. Seeing this, Lucio immediately disregarded her discomfort and went forward, choked with sobs. Linimo, I was very impatient and also didn't want to face the issue of whether she was really pregnant. My mood was irritable. Apart from divorce, I don't want to see you anywhere. Lucio wiped her mouth and dejectedly took out another car key. You don't like the SUV? What about a sports car? I don't like it either. I looked at her coldly. I don't like anything. As long as it's yours, I don't like it. Lucio's eyes were tinged with red. SUV you don't like, sports car you don't like, what about a house? Shares. As long as I have it, I can give it all to you. I have no other way. She was almost pleading. No matter how much we argue, I don't want to divorce you. I didn't want to be watched like a spectacle on the street, so I directly dragged her arm into the car. After the car started, her face became even more pale. I sighed and still stiffly asked, Are you all right? Lucio immediately sat up straight, shaking her head. I'm fine. After speaking, she touched her stomach with an expectant look on her face. I was instantly choked up, not knowing what to say. After a while, I suddenly calmed down, took a deep breath, and said to her calmly, Lucio, you really don't need to do this. Actually, I don't blame you either. Except for you saving Joanne back then, which made me very uncomfortable. I figured out everything else later. We two are fundamentally incompatible. Although you didn't give me a sense of security, I myself also lacked confidence, so I became paranoid and did many things that annoyed you. Speaking of which, I'm not entirely without fault. We both have problems to get to where we are today. Speaking of which, I myself found it a bit funny. Although I didn't want to see Lucio, even I felt disgusted by my former self. Every day I pestered Lucio. My eyes were only on her. My heart and eyes were only filled with love for her, as if the whole world was unimportant. That kind of me indeed lacked charm. Even I didn't like myself, let alone Lucio. I didn't dislike it, Lucio said in a hoarse voice. I did feel impatient sometimes, but I never thought about divorcing you. I thought even if we quarreled, we would still spend our whole lives together. But I don't want to live that kind of life anymore. I shook my head. Joanne is just a fuse between us. The essential problem is that we are not people from the same world. I can't trust you, and it's impossible for you to unconditionally accommodate me. Over time, we will always become very tired, and then new problems will arise. Lucio, we are both adults. Don't be so childish anymore. The black Cullinan drove away. I insisted on not letting Lucio see me back home. Standing downstairs, watching her receding figure, I sighed. If there really is a child. My family ties are weak and my relationship with my parents is not deep. After their divorce, they both formed their own families. After meeting Lucio, I always wanted to have a harmonious and perfect family of 3, treating her as my lifeline and holding on to her tightly. The tighter I held, the faster it slipped away. I have always wanted a child, so after she said those words, I completely gave up on her. I thought even if Lucio didn't want the child, as long as she gave birth to it, I could raise the child alone, and that would be good too. But she gave me absolutely no hope. I should be as heartless as she is, but when I think of it being my bloodline, I can't bring myself to be cruel. Today was a day off, and I went to the hospital for a brain scan. When I was holding the examination report and preparing to go home, I suddenly saw a man I hadn't seen in a long time on the road. Linimo, what is that in your hand? Joanne suddenly appeared, and I was startled. I subconsciously put the brain scan report into my bag. It's none of your business. What does it matter to you? I was very wary, because the current Joanne really didn't look like a normal person. His face was haggard, his eyes were unfocused, and he hadn't even changed his clothes, as if he had experienced some major upheaval. Seeing my evasive eyes, he rushed over to snatch my report. He was crazy and not my match at all, and suddenly he screamed shrilly. Do you know that Axiu is pregnant? She's pregnant with your child. Why? Why have I lost everything, but you made Axiu pregnant? I am the favored son of heaven. I am Axiu's childhood sweetheart. Why should you, a newcomer, occupy her? Lucio is really pregnant. My mood was complicated, and I didn't even pay attention to Joanne's madness. Why? Why? If you have anything, go directly to Lucio. It has nothing to do with me. I took a step back. not wanting to listen to his unreasonable rambling. This matter should be handled by Lu Xiao. I used to be too stupid, always thinking that as long as she had me, a man by her side, she wouldn't change her mind. But for a woman like her to change her mind, how easy would it be? I don't need to waste my time warning other men. It's just a waste of energy. Are you mocking me? Zhou suddenly laughed crazily, took a step forward and stared at me intently. You know that she completely stopped cooperating with the Zhou family, making me a laughingstock in the circle, and now it's impossible for her to help me. So you're mocking me? I frowned, took a step back, and was about to turn around and leave, but Zhou blocked me again. Those things were all told to her by you, right? What things? You told her that I deliberately made things difficult for you behind your back, that I was sowing discord, that I pushed you into the pool. You complained to her, right? I sneered. You've done all these things. Are you still afraid of others knowing? I knew it was you. He suddenly screamed and rushed towards me. I subconsciously dodged, but saw him take out a dagger from nowhere, looking like he was aiming for my life. It seems he was really driven to desperation to do such extreme things. Linimo, I heard an urgent cry, and the expected pain did not come. When I opened my eyes, I realized that Lu Xiao was actually standing in front of me. I just watched as the dagger pierced her heart. She was bleeding all the time, her face pale, but she still quietly looked in my direction, confirming if I was okay. Her hand lifted up, wanted to touch my cheek, but finally fell down weakly. Lu Xiao, wait. I called her name, but she couldn't hear me anymore. Hospital. Everywhere was a wide expanse. I followed behind the nurse, panting, pushing the stretcher. It was all blood on it. My hands were also covered in blood. I held Lu Xiao's hand, trembling all the time, unable to tell if it was me or her. Instead, she squeezed my palm and softly asked me, Linimo, are you all right? I'm fine, don't talk. Please don't talk. Every time she spoke, it would exhaust her strength. I just wanted her to be safe and sound. She raised her hand, wanting to touch my face. Don't cry, she said. It hurts me. Don't talk, don't speak. You can't have anything happen to you. I won't allow anything to happen to you. Do you hear me? Don't let me live with guilt for the rest of my life. Lu Xiao squeezed my hand, using her last bit of strength to say, if I'm not so lucky this time, start a new life. Being widowed doesn't require a divorce. Suddenly she smiled, the corners of her lips twitching. At least we're still husband and wife. Don't say such foolish things. I was panicked for the first time, terrified that something would really happen to her. The faded feelings from the past surged back, and I realized that my feelings for her had only been suppressed. I didn't want to be hurt again, so I wanted to forget her. If I had a little more time, I might have really been able to forget her, but now, just as I was remembering everything between us, she was on the brink of death, saving me. I can't let go. I still want to divorce her, hoping that she can be well, safe and sound, and walk out of that operating room. Then we'll sign the papers, and each of us can be well and go our separate ways. The light in the operating room stayed on. I sat on the chair outside, waiting. My hands were covered in blood, all Lu Xiao's. Everything around me was irrelevant, until Lu Lian arrived, rushing over to ask me, how is Axu doing? I finally raised my lifeless eyes, glanced at her, and said in a hoarse voice, I'm sorry, I don't know yet. The doctors are doing their best to save her. Lu Lian's eyes rolled back, and she almost fainted. I thought she would blame me, but she didn't say anything. After calming down, she looked at me and told me to wait there. I didn't know what she meant, but I obediently did as she said, waiting in that spot. Before long, I saw Lu Lian grabbing Zhouen's hair and violently throwing him towards me. He's the one who did it, right? I paused for a moment, then nodded. Lu Lian grabbed his hair and slammed his head into the ground. If anything happens to my daughter, I won't spare you. It's all Lin Mo's fault. It has nothing to do with me. The person I wanted to kill was him. Why would I want to hurt Axu? Lu Lian slapped him twice. Do you think I'll let you off just because you say that? He's my son-in-law. If you hurt him, I still won't let you go. Hearing her words, I looked at her in astonishment. I always thought she didn't like me, but I didn't expect her to say such a thing. I even thought she would blame me. After all, Zhouen's family, the target was indeed me. And Lu Xiao took the blow for me. Why, auntie? You used to like me so much, Zhouen said, his voice breaking. That's because I was blind back then, Lu Lian said with hatred. I did like you before, I watched you grow up and I know you well. But feelings can't be forced, and my daughter doesn't like you, so I can't force you to be together. Even if I think the person she chose isn't suitable for her, at least Lin Mo's intentions are good. It turns out that Axiu has better taste than I do, Lu Yin said with heartache. I know everything you've done. Out of respect for your grandfather, we didn't hold you accountable, but I didn't expect you to become even more reckless and think of such a vicious plan. If anything happens to Axiu, don't even think about having a peaceful life. Saying this, she made a phone call to Lu Xiu's father. He was also rushing over here, and Lu Yin even instructed him with a few words. Don't let the Zhou family side have it too easy. Tell them this is all Zhou Un's doing. Zhou Un wailed and fell to the ground like a madman. Seeing this, Lu Yin shook her head and said, it's because the family spoiled you too much, never willing to educate you properly, that you've ended up in this state. Zhou Un was still hysterical and noisy. I didn't want to hear a single word they said, quietly watching the door of the operating room, only hoping that Lu Xiu would be all right. The light in the operating room went off. My eyes lit up, and I immediately said to the two people next to me, be quiet, the surgery is over. Lu Yin immediately shut her mouth, raised her hand, and had the bodyguards drag Zhou Un away. On the way, she glanced at me, saying nothing. We both understood each other, so there was no need for words. She and I were not from the same social class at all, and our relationship couldn't be described as harmonious. It could only be said to be mutual respect. The doctor came out, and the two of us stepped forward at the same time. How is she? The doctor sighed. Suturing is already underway. The specific situation depends on her will to live. His words were euphemistic, but both Lu Yin and I understood his meaning. After a long silence, Lu Xiu was sent to a VIP ward for observation. Lu Yin and I went in, and neither of us spoke. Perhaps we were also too exhausted to say anything. Lu Yin's eyes were red, completely lacking the imposing manner she had when dealing with Zhou and earlier. In the end, she was just a mother worried about her daughter. I sat by the bed, looking at Lu Xiu's tightly closed eyes and couldn't help but say, I'm sorry. My voice was also a little hoarse and choked with sobs. Lu Yin ignored me. After a while, she said, it would be false to say I don't resent you, but I know this is Zhou Un's problem. I understand, Auntie, I said softly. No matter what, I will take good care of Lu Xiu. Lu Yin sighed. I know about your divorce troubles. I didn't like you before, but I never made things difficult for you, and even always defended you in front of outsiders. But Lin Mo, confidence is something you give yourself. If you yourself feel unworthy, being anxious and hesitant, how can others think you are worthy? Lu Yin and Lu Xiu's father only had this one daughter. In most cases, they respected her personal ideas very much. After I married Lu Xiu, she had heart-to-heart talks with her parents, hoping they wouldn't interfere too much, and they agreed. Lu Yin had never said such heartfelt words to me before. I nodded heavily, but said nothing. Lu Xiu's father also arrived quickly. His face was stern, and he told Lu Yin that everything had been taken care of. Now they just needed to wait for Lu Xiu to wake up. After guarding all night, Lu Yin said to me, You're also tired. Go back and get some rest. I shook my head. It's okay, I can still hold on. Lu Yin frowned, just about to say something, when suddenly my brain had a dizzy spell, the world spun before my eyes, and then everything went black and I fainted. When I woke up again, I was lying on the hospital bed next to Lu Xiu. Seeing me wake up, Lu Yin was very anxious. How do you feel? Is there anything uncomfortable? No, I shook my head. How long have I slept? Not long. The doctor said you were overworked and told you to get some rest. I nodded, but noticed a complex look in Lu Yin's eyes. I asked, puzzled, is there something else? Lu Yin sighed. Axiu is pregnant. Did you know? I subconsciously pursed my lips, unsure how to respond. I didn't want them to know. If they knew Lu Xiu was pregnant with my child, they would definitely make her give birth. After all, they lacked an heir. After we divorce, they would definitely fight me for custody of the child. With their financial strength, I wouldn't stand a chance. This is the family I finally managed to gain. I can't allow this to happen. I remained silent. Lu Yin seemed to see through me, and after a long while she sighed and said, I don't want to interfere with what happened between you and Axiu, but this child. She looked at me. The doctor said that as long as the mother is kept safe, The child will be fine. Axiu will definitely want to keep this child when she wakes up. We hope the child grows up in a healthy family. Lu Lian sighed. Linimo, Axiu is sorry for you, but she truly loves you. She's just spoiled and doesn't know how to express herself. Before leaving, she patted my shoulder. Don't worry, the Lu family will protect you no matter what. This is also what Axiu wants the most. I nodded. After she left, it was just Lu Xiao and me. I looked at her tightly closed eyes, feeling a pang of heartache, but the thought of the child also made me angry. Lu Xiao, I remember you said you didn't want this child. If you want an abortion after you wake up, then I hope you never wake up. After I said that, she still didn't show the slightest movement. I couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. Aren't you trying to atone for your sins? Aren't you trying to change? Are you trying to slack off by lying here like this? I knew she couldn't hear me, but what Lu Lian said earlier had a big impact on me. I needed an outlet to vent. Lu Xiao, since you don't like children, once you wake up and give birth to her, I'll take care of the child myself. But the child will still call you mom. You are its biological mother, and even if we are divorced, we can still coexist peacefully. But I won't be alone forever. Maybe before long, your child will be calling someone else mom. I said this on purpose to provoke her. What do you think of Mei? She's like me for so many years, and even saved my life. Maybe she would be a good stepmother. Before I could finish speaking, Lu Xiao's fingers suddenly twitched. But it was just a twitch. She didn't wake up. I was disappointed. Lu Xiao, I'm not kidding. If you don't wake up, I'll really. Before I could finish, Lu Xiao's eyelids suddenly jumped. This time I saw it clearly. It wasn't an illusion. Doctor, I was excited and quickly called Ning Ruru over. Ning Ruru is Lu Xiao's best friend. She's been staying at the hospital since the accident. She and Lu Xiao's attending physician rushed over. After examining her, Ning Ruru told me with a hint of surprise, she should wake up soon. Don't worry. I nodded. Thank you. Ning Ruru originally intended to leave, but after standing for a while, she turned back to look at me. I'm sorry for what happened before, brother-in-law. She had always called me Mr. Lin before. Ning Ruru looked apologetic. I always felt like you weren't good enough for Axiu, but this is between you two. As long as Axiu loves you, I shouldn't have been so pushy. It's all in the past. I was expressionless and didn't feel much about her apology, because I never really considered her a friend. To me, she was just a stranger I knew. Ning Ruru saw my reaction was lukewarm and didn't say anything more. She made a few perfunctory remarks and left. I sat by the bed, waiting for Lu Xiao to wake up. In the middle of the night, drowsiness came over me. I lay down by the bed, holding her hand. At night, the hospital was a bit cold. I was just about to wake up to find a blanket when suddenly my shoulder warmed up. I was startled and quickly opened my eyes, only to see Lu Xiao putting a blanket on me. You're awake. I was overjoyed. I grabbed her hand tightly and was about to go call the doctor. While waiting for the doctor to come, Lu Xiao gently hugged me. She said in a hoarse voice in my ear, "Don't let my child call someone else mommy." Her voice was muffled. She had just woken up and was already urgently telling me this. I was both annoyed and amused. I pushed her away and said, "Let the doctor check your head first." Lu Xiao finally woke up. The Lu family was naturally very happy. At the same time, the Zhou family also breathed a sigh of relief. If something had really happened to Lu Xiao, they would probably have had to kill Zhou In to apologize. Of course, this is an exaggeration, but for a declining wealthy family like the Zhou family with many descendants, cutting off their financial path is like killing their parents. As long as they could appease the Lu family and get them to show mercy, they would do anything. Now that Lu Xiao had woken up, the relationship between the Zhou family and the Lu family could never go back to the way it was. It was considered completely broken. After this incident, the way Lu Xiao and I got along became subtle. Before, we used to argue and bicker, but we never thought about breaking up. Later, it was because she said she didn't want children and would abort if she got pregnant that I had suicidal thoughts. After she woke up, she took me to a therapist for a comprehensive counseling session, wanting to find the root of the problem. But when she found out the reason, her extremely regretful expression is still vivid in my memory. She said, "Linimo, those were always just angry words. How can I not want our child?" She seemed very scared and hugged me tightly. "Back then you said as long as I got pregnant, would I be able to ignore Zhou In? Even if you argued with me, I just thought you were jealous and would be fine with a little coaxing. I know I was wrong, but I always thought I had my own difficulties and just wanted you to understand me, but I didn't understand your feelings. When you said those things, I thought you were using the child as a tool to compete for fame and gain. So I was very angry and said those things, but I never really thought that way. I understood what she meant. I had also said many hurtful things before, but that time she really broke my heart. Linimo, give me a chance. Lucio's voice was extremely low. I can't live without you, and I can't live without this child. Watch my actions, okay? If we are still like this in the future, then you can leave me without any complaints from me. Linimo, I want to try again. I love you so much. We used to love each other so much. If we just break up like this, I'm not reconciled. And how could I be reconciled? But I really didn't dare to try again. What she said was all right. There were huge misunderstandings between us. But no matter how many misunderstandings there were, the hurt I had suffered was real. I was also hurt, Linimo. Lucio cupped my face. We are like two hedgehogs, but I am willing to put away my thorns.